Welcome to Business Spotlight. This is Patrick Dewar. I have a great show for you today. I love to find people that are out to change the world, and I don't mean that lightly. Folks that we're going to talk to today have literally created something that when you put it into your engine, it'll go 30, 40, maybe 50% longer, faster, harder, and with less maintenance than ever before. I'm thankful to see these guys because I've actually treated my own car with their product, and I've seen a dramatic increase in all of the areas that I've just mentioned. I'm really thankful because these guys are Ceramic Performance, Surbond.com. My guest today is Chuck Hardy.
And Chuck, thanks for being on the show.
Well, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I'm looking forward to hearing how you guys have actually come up with this idea.
Well, it was really rather interesting. A good friend of mine for over 30 years called me up one day and said, you need to get over here, bring your car. I've got something I want to put in it. And started telling me all the things that it could do. And being such a good friend, and I thought, you know, I owe him that much.
Sure.
But thought maybe he was smoking something a little funny. And when I got there, he started putting these little fluids, a little bit of fluid in my engine and my transmission, my differential. And on my drive home, which was about 30 miles, I was absolutely amazed at the differences it was making in my car. My transmission stopped slipping. I have a 1984 automobile and been milking it for everything it's worth. But now the transmission stopped slipping. The engine was quieted way down. The vibrations went down. The noise level quieted down. Also, I noticed that I had the engine began to have more pep and more power. And I was just, this was all in a 30-minute drive. And as I continued to go on days after, I noticed that my mileage economy improved quite a bit. And at that point, David and I had a conversation and became partners and named the product Surbond.
Surbond.
And that's how we got to where we are now.
So why Surbond? What's the name mean?
Basically, it stands for two things, a ceramic and a bond, which is basically what the product is doing inside the engine. I don't know, a lot of people have seen the study that was done by the Japanese actually on a ceramic engine. And the benefits that it had were tremendous. The problem was it was too expensive to build. To go in mass production, each unit would cost over $100,000, and the average person is not going to spend that kind of money for a new engine. Yeah, not this week. So then what happened was that in continuation of looking and researching and trying to figure out how to get those kind of benefits, David came up with these things, and here we are today.
That is excellent. So what will the average consumer actually gain from using this product?
Well, they're going to gain several things. From the use of the product, it will, first of all, it will quiet the engine down, and it will smooth the engine down. And after that, they will notice that in driving that the vehicle begins to feel like it has more pep and power. It's going to feel like someone has done some work to their suspension system, and then they have a choice. Some of us get excited and say, hey, let's go use that extra power and go around corners a little faster or run down the highway a little faster. But those that drive the same way after treatment as they did before the treatment, if they normally went down that road at 40 miles an hour, if they continue at 40 miles an hour, now the treatment's completed, they will find a very nice increase in their fuel economy.
Oh, very good. So, you know, with all the talk about going green and stuff like this, sounds like this would be a real good product to enhance that theme.
Yes, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because one of the side benefits of what this product is doing inside the engine, it is going to end up reducing your emissions, and we had it tested, and the emissions reduction were anywhere from about 80 to 92%.
Wow. Now, I mean, I would think that people that had like fleets would be really interested in this. Is that what you're seeing as well?
Anybody that owns, drives, operates any type of motor vehicle is going to fall in love with this stuff. And yes, if you have a fleet, fuel economy is an important thing. Many companies want to advertise the fact that they've gone green, which they can do when using this product. it helps the environment, and it helps your vehicles run better, less expensively, and longer.
Well, I know that even with mine, my car had almost 100,000 miles on it. And I felt a dramatic increase in its horsepower. Now, wouldn't that, well, in fact, haven't you guys run some tests with some of the NASCARs?
Yes, just recently we've been doing several tests with a couple of the teams from top teams in NASCAR, and they've noticed several things. And the one thing you have to remember is that a race car is different than a street car, from the standpoint that all the gears and all the clearances, et cetera, are much finer, much tighter. They run much greater RPMs and higher pressures and more heat. So with that being said, the amount of improvement you would get out of a typical race gear or a race engine with the product, you would expect it to be less than what we get with our street cars. In NASCAR, they found from the immediate introduction of the product into the differential, and they received a 2.5 horsepower gain, which was really surprising because they've been studying with and working on trying to get fractions of a horsepower improvement at a time. So they even stopped the test, recalibrated the machines, ran them again. In fact, both teams did exactly the same thing, and they got the improvement every time. On the second pull on the dynos for the differential, they noticed that even went up more, and on the third one, even more again. And they actually got between a 2 to a 10 horsepower gain each time, through the three pulls that they did on the dyno. And that equates to, again, either going around the track faster and getting faster takeoffs of the line, or if you're looking for fuel economy, you don't use up the power and your MPGs begin to rise dramatically.
Is this something that a person would need to reapply?
No, the interesting thing is this is a metal treatment. This is not like, most people think of additives when you get a vehicle and we sell you something and you want to go put it in. Most people think of that as an additive. And in most cases that's true. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with additives, except they're consumables. Every time you use the oil or change the oil or have to add fuel or what have you, well, then you've got to add more additive. And our product is not like that. It's a metal treatment. It actually penetrates into the metal. It is a very small particulates in the compounds. In fact, it's a nanotechnology, and the largest molecule, if you will, in its entangled state, meaning it's like if you took a string and tied lots of little knots in it until you got it all knotted up and then measured it, it would be thicker than if you just took the string in a long line and measured its thickness, right? So when if you took a molecule of this and got it all knotted up, it would be less than 1/10 of a micron. So it's very, very, very small. And therefore, it will actually penetrate into the metal and go into the pores, the crevices, and get into the metal, and then it cures to a hard finish. And you would then have to actually remove metal in order to remove Cerbond.
Outstanding. Well, we're coming up to a break, and I want to say thanks for watching this. You should go to Cerbond.com. Just think of Bond, Cerbond.com, to really get more information and get yourself some of this stuff. This will really change your engine and your life. Thanks so much. We'll be right back.